We're set. Okay. All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to call to order the Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, May 12th. If you would, please rise if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you all. At this time, we're going to look for public comment. Seeing no one here for public comment in the room, also on the phone, no one for public comment. We're moved to our meeting minutes from Tuesday, May 5th.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 5th.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried and the minutes are approved. Okay. Going into our proclamations, we're going to begin with Center Gives, and we're going to proclaim today and tomorrow as Center Gives Day in Center County. And we are excited because we have a video actually from the Center Foundation that they've created with all the numerous nonprofits. So we're going to play that video here this morning. And what we'll do is we'll put this, if we could have, Margaret, do you have the AV mute button? Okay. Yep, I think, yeah, we got the screen there. And we appreciate them, their willingness to send us this video, and we're very excited about it. So without further ado, we're going to play the Center Gives 2020 36 Hours to Give Where You Live video.
Our region is a remarkable place with a bold vision for the future. We're strong, diverse, resilient, and proud. Proud of our community, a community that has achieved so much. But we still have new chapters to write, new odds to defy, and new barriers to break through. On May 12th and 13th, we have 36 hours to come together and make a big impact by supporting the nonprofits who lift up lives, provide food and shelter, and create community. Each of these organizations is a unique gift with the will to effect positive change. Across the country, nonprofits are struggling with the challenges this year has brought. But for those of us who love where we live, we won't let their work go interrupted. The Center Gives will unite and rally together over this chance to lift them up.
When you give through Center Gives, your donation helps local nonprofits receive part of $300,000 in stretch pools, in addition to other prizes. And all the money you give stays local. You live local, you love local. Now give local. Please donate through Center Gives.
We all know that home is where the heart is. No matter what you love about where you live, you can put your money where your heart is and give where you live at centergives.org. Every gift makes a tremendous difference, and when we all give, we all gain. We have 36 hours. Who's in?
So that is a real tribute to all the good work that happens here in Center County with our nonprofits, and we're really excited that they were able to put that together, share that with us. And we all know these organizations and have worked with them for many, many years, and really wish them all the best during this giving season. But since 2012, the event has invested over $8.2 million into local nonprofits. So we wish them the best this year over the next 36 hours. It's happening now, it's live, and we wish them all the best. But any other comments or thoughts before we look to proclaim Center Gives Days?
Center Foundation is a great group. They assist a large number of our local charities. I like to talk about how we have over 300 charitable organizations in Center County, and I believe 175 of them are participating with the Center Foundation. So that's over half. This is a time where you can multiply your giving. I believe their stretch pool is $300,000 this year. So whatever you give will also receive at least a partial match. And then there's all the excitement about all the various stretch pools for lunch, for dinner, for first thing in the morning. So it's a fun time, and I encourage the people of Center County to be generous.
I would agree, and I think it's important to recognize the fact that these organizations really do make up the texture and quality of life that we all enjoy here in Center County. So this is a great time to contribute. Your contribution is not only going to be your money, but also matched by the Center Foundation's pool. So it's all good. Go out and see what you can do to help out. We all need that support right now.
Excellent. Okay. So we would look for a motion to adopt the proclamation.
Enthusiastic motion to adopt proclamation number 10 of 2020, proclaiming May 12th and 13th as Center Gives Days in Center County.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the proclamation, say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Okay. And then we have another proclamation, and this is to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month here in Center County. And with this, we're urging everybody, especially in these difficult times, if you are affected by mental health and want to seek out, please do reach out to our mental health office. Also, we have great organizations such as the Community Center for Resources just opened up their walk-in clinic and has a 24-hour number, so please do reach out. But this is for all the mental health workers, for all the folks who volunteer for the nonprofits, and for individuals throughout our county who are, again, working through their mental health journey. And we do have a video for them as well, and Marissa Vasseri, who's the involved with the Jana Marie Foundation, put together a video for us, and so we're going to give a listen to that as well.
Thank you for taking the bold step of proclaiming May as Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm Marissa Vasseri, President and founder of the Jana Marie Foundation. Since incorporation, the Jana Marie Foundation has harnessed the power of creative expression and dialogue to spark conversations, build connections, and promote mental well-being among young people and their communities. You see, just like our physical health, each one of us is on a spectrum for our mental health, and situations and experiences can cause us to shift from being well to unwell. Now more than ever, we are witnessing how important our mental health is. We have shifted our routines, practiced physical distancing, and challenged ourselves to find new ways to balance the different aspects of our lives. The changes in routine and uncertainty that COVID-19 has left behind has tested all of our mental health. As a nation, there has been increase in reports of stress and anxiety. Crisis call centers are receiving more requests than ever before, and overall, our needs have shifted. While these challenges have stretched us in ways that we didn't know were possible, they have also provided us opportunities to be creative in the ways that we reach out to one another. It has sparked additional conversations around mental health, helping to break down barriers to seeking help. And it has allowed us the time to re-examine what matters most. Mental health affects the way in which we live, laugh, love, and play. We must continue to make it known that it's okay to discuss our mental health, and it's okay to voice when we're not feeling okay. Life is precious, and sometimes we all need a little extra support. Each one of us can play a vital part in supporting those around us and ending the silence that surrounds mental health. Together, not only in May, but in every day, week, and month moving forward, we can continue to break down barriers to seeking help. We can work to give a voice to those who need it most, and we can provide tools and techniques for young people to grow their confidence and resiliency. Most importantly, we can open minds and save lives. We hope that you will join Jana Marie Foundation in spreading mental health awareness throughout the month of May and every month moving forward. Please visit www.janmariefoundation.org or follow us on Facebook to see how you can get involved. Thank you.
So we certainly appreciate Marissa and the Jana Marie Foundation for putting the videos together, that we would be able to, again, hear their perspective on things, although they can't be here. We really appreciate that. So any other comments before we look to proclaim May 2020 as Mental Health Awareness Month?
Good concept, very important. Kind of missed the fact that the darkness walk won't be happening as well for suicide prevention, but do appreciate all that everyone does in the mental health awareness groups to help us here in Sutter County.
Yeah, I think the real important thing to remember right now, and I was glad that Marissa touched on it, we are in unprecedented times, and there's so many challenges out there that people, they may feel isolated, they might feel, depressed, they might, uncertain as to, what the future leads. And, I think we are so blessed in Center County to have so many resources available for those folks. And, whether it's the community hotlines or whether it's the individual organizations themselves, we are just so blessed. And it's a good opportunity for us to remind ourselves that those resources are out there and celebrate the folks that every day make mental health a priority in everybody's life. So I'm very proud to support this, and I think our board shares my sentiment. So very excited to proclaim May as Mental Health Awareness Month.
Absolutely. We've done this for some time now, but I think this year it's even more important and prescient. So we look for a motion there.
Sure. Another enthusiastic motion to adopt proclamation number 11 of 2020, proclaiming May as Mental Health Awareness Month in Center County.
We'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any final conversation on this discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. And we'll be sure to transmit these proclamations to each organization. And again, thank them for all their hard work. So we're going to move into the COVID-19 planning and response. We'll turn it over to Margaret for some discussion and conversation on this one. Thank you, Margaret.
Consideration this morning that are related to the furlough and reduced hours in place here. The first item is for
Oh, Margaret, sorry. We distracted her with the video. Sorry.
these are personnel items related to COVID-19 and our furlough and reduced hour status. The first item comes from our correctional facility, and it is a request to authorize the filling of a currently vacant position of lieutenant, and they're asking for this to be opened up effective May 17th. That's one of the vacancies that we included in the furlough status. The second item is to consider approval of the reinstatement of Brenda McKinley, Administrative Coordinator, from reduced hour furlough to regular full-time status effective next week, May 17th. And then the third item, it comes from the Recorder of Deeds, and it's consider the approval of the reinstatement of Nancy Stover, Second Deputy Recorder of Deeds, from full-time furlough to regular full-time status effective May the 18th. So those are the only three requests today.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Any questions, comments on those items? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the three items under personnel, under COVID-19 planning and response.
Moved and seconded. Any final discussions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried. Okay. We have this as an agenda item, just if there's any discussion on this, but we are now in the yellow phase, and we're again encouraging all of our private sector partners, nonprofits, to safely reopen, and hope the best for them and all of our citizens. So again, we are in the yellow phase, and we are looking forward to moving to the green, but again, want to be slow, want to be methodical about it, and we'll get there together as a community. Moving into contracts, please.
I think there probably needs to be some discussion as to when we as Center County government get back to a normal. Is there any thoughts about where and when that might occur? How it would occur? What kind of the goalposts or milestones that we're looking for?
Sure. So Margaret had sent out a message to department heads and elected officials last week on Friday, outlining some of what we're doing. But essentially, we're going to be still doing the telework. We're still going to be doing appointments if citizens would want to do appointments with our staff. But we're again encouraging not to come into the buildings unless absolutely necessary. But I think that we have the ability to do that, and we have a structure in place that we can continue to do that. And we'll see how things go. We're just 3 business days into the yellow phase. So again, it's telework, it's appointments, and there may be some other metrics or some other operations that we're missing in there, but we really have communicated that we're still going to continue on the trajectory we were already on.
And I think one of the other things we should be looking at as we move forward gauge what the court system is going to do and what their timeline is. Because, you know, being shut down until the end of this month, I think certainly changes our game plan, but hopefully they'll be able to come back to some measure of operation, which would be extremely helpful for the public.
We do know that they're doing Zoom courts, and maybe if Margaret, you wanted to touch on some of these,
They
yeah.
are holding many of their hearings currently for the next several weeks via Zoom, so that they are trying to do as much as possible remotely. They do have some activities, court proceedings taking place in the courthouse, but the courthouse is technically closed until May 31st, as we all know. I just wanted to add on, not so much a metric, but some planning that's taking place on our part during this interim period while we're kind of walking through the yellow phase, and that is to work with our department heads and our risk manager to prepare our offices for the return of employees. So we've been doing some inventory around of where we need to move some furniture, put some barriers up so that there's plexiglass perhaps between the public and the employees, such as you see out in other buildings. But we are working to get those offices ready to, you know, be a new normal, so to speak. So.
We do know some departments in the courts, Pathonetary is trying to work through their backlog. We know the sheriff is starting to do certain not petitions, but he's doing, he's got some folks in his office that are doing some work out in the public now that he brought back, starting for yesterday. So we're going to see a little bit of movement when it comes to some of those offices. But again, it's going to be a slower ramp up as we go throughout the month. And again, hopefully cases do not spread and we have a very low metric. We had 0 yesterday, and we hope we continue that for as long as we can here. So, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Would like to mention, it was in the news today, express our sympathies to the citizens of Jersey Shore. Their Manor Care Retirement Facility has a very severe outbreak of COVID at this point.
Okay. All right, so moving into contracts, we will turn over to Margaret.
First item this morning is a change order related to the renovation work at the courthouse. It's change order number 1 with general construction contractor J.C. Orr & Son, and it's in the amount of $2,512.33. And the reason for it is to fill in a gap exposed after removal of fin tube radiation from the exterior walls. This change order would increase the contract total from $644,698 to $647,210.33. And I actually have some photos to share with you so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. It's really quite more than it might sound. So that is the reason for the change order.
This wasn't considered during the original.
They did not know about it until they got in there and
So they have the fin tube radiation water heating system, and now that they've removed it, obviously the walls and whatnot had not been finished underneath the radiation system.
right, it's exposed plywood and it has to be finished properly.
All right, any questions on this? It's in the amount of $2,512.33. Okay, hearing no questions, will there be a motion to approve the change order?
Motion to approve change order number 1 with J.C. Orr & Sons, Inc.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the change order? Seeing none and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Margaret.
The second item is a contract renewal with Mahaffey Laboratory for laboratory testing services of waste effluent at the Center County Correctional Facility at a rate of $106 per occurrence. The contract total is estimated at $10,600 for a 5-year period beginning April 9th, 2020 through April 8th of 2025. This allows for 5 tests per quarter of the wastewater effluent at the correctional facility.
Any questions on this? Any comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to add the contract to next week's consent?
Motion to add the contract renewal with Mahaffey Laboratory LLC to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, and then Human Services.
This next item is a quarterly report for the period of July 1st of 19 through March 31st, 2020, that the Office of Children and Youth Services is required to submit to the state. It is an outlining of all of the expenditures and revenues that came in and out of that office during that period of time, and we submit these on a quarterly basis.
Any questions, comments for Margaret? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the CYS quarterly reports.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay, so we're going to turn the agenda over to Chad at this point. We're going to, he is connecting with us remotely, and so we've just unmuted Chad's phone, and we're going to turn the floor over to him. Chad, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well, thank you.
Excellent. This morning I have a contract for consideration. It is through CDWG and it's for Duo Security. Duo Security is a multi-factor authentication application that is used to enhance our cybersecurity. What it does is it provides an additional layer to complete authentication. So instead of entering a username and password, in addition to that, it will provide you a need to complete the authentication with through an app on your phone or through your desktop. It is one of the best and proven additions to cybersecurity to help protect credentials and unauthorized logins. So the contract is for $18,360, and it would run from May 19th, 2020 to May 18th, 2021.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Any questions, comments for Chad on this?
So Chad, is this for all county employees or just county employees who are accessing secure systems?
We are going to start with county employees who are accessing systems remotely,
All right.
and then it's going to kind of phase out beyond there. So we're
Okay.
starting with our remote workers first.
So you'll do it in phases with persons who are connecting remotely, generally to secure systems, and then over the next couple of months, you'll spread it out throughout the entire county.
Exactly. We've been piloting it. We have about 25 or so, 30 users that have been using it for a few weeks. It's been going really well. So it'll be phased in over the next few months.
Great, thanks.
And Chad, we had budgeted for this in the 2020 budget. How are we coming in terms of the financials?
Yes, this was a line item in our 2020 budget. The line item was for $23,000, so this comes in $4,600 under what we put in the budget.
Okay. Good work, good news. Okay, excellent. All right, thank you, Chad. We look then for a motion.
Motion to add the contract with CDWG to next week's consent agenda.
We'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Chad, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right, moving forward, risk management, Margaret.
Yes, the next item is the renewal of a professional liability insurance policy for the District Attorney's Office through Ndaa Insurance Services. Total premium is $27,975 for the period of June 6, 2020 through June 6 of 2021. And again, this is a renewal of policy that's necessary for the District Attorney's Office.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Any questions, comments? Give me a motion.
Motion to add the policy with the NDAA Insurance Services to next week's consent agenda.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Okay. Then into our grants section.
So the next item is requesting permission of the Board of Commissioners to submit a payment request. It's actually payment request number 6 to the Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED, for disbursements of funds from the Development Keystone Communities Grant in the amount of $960.54 for public advertisement of the Mountaintop Activity Center RFP. So this is just another piece of that project as we inch toward completion.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Any questions on this item? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to add the submission of payment request number 6 to DCED to next week's consent agenda.
We'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Thank you, Margaret. All right, for our next item, and this is going to be for Community Development Block Grant, we're going to welcome up Matt Milliron from the CDBG. Yeah, please, Matt, if you wouldn't mind. We know that with glasses, it is a challenge to wear masks, but would you mind putting the mask up above your nose and hope to the best of your...
Steam up.
I know, that's okay, that's okay. We won't fault you for that. So good morning, Matt, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What I have before you today is basically a relatively minor housekeeping item. The real important issue I'd like to talk about at the end, and that's actually starting on Thursday. In the CARES Act that was passed at the end of March, it included $5 billion for CDBG to be allocated across the country. And also within that same language, we all joke around it takes an act of Congress. Well, it took an act of Congress in the CARES Act. They made some changes to the CDBG, let's say some of the rules and requirements. They made two changes specifically in the Act, and then they also specifically mentioned four things that cannot be changed. But the two things to be changed was to allow for a rapid response for deployment of these funds, and that is that we can have virtual meetings. We are required to have two public hearings. If we had to wait for all the conditions to be lifted, we might not be having these hearings till, August or something. So the Act of Congress allows us to have virtual hearings. It also allows us to shorten our comment period for citizens to comment back to us that we're going to start that process here on Thursday. So again, these laws are, the CDBG program is obviously a big urban program that we try to squeeze it into the rural areas. So we, the county, don't necessarily have a citizen participation plan that you've ever officially adopted. I have something in my file. It's more of a procedure, if you will, but this allows us to recognize the new procedure and to move forward with a virtual hearing coming up on Thursday.
It seems like instead of them creating a whole new program, they just said, let's just get the money out through CDBG and just push it out that way. The challenge is it can be a little technical, as we know, in terms of submissions, in terms of amendments and all that. However, it's better that we're getting this money and trying to put it out there as quickly as possible. So were you going to get to when the forum was going to be, or the public
If I can do that, no,
Please,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah, please.
The first step is we are required to have a public hearing to let the public know about the initial allocation of money that we know we are getting. That's cast in stone. There's additional funding that's going to be available. I think I sent you all an announcement about that yesterday. Pennsylvania just received that announcement yesterday. And the first step we do is we let the public know about these funds. Y'all come. Everybody tell us what your needs are. And in essence, what we're trying to do is build the county's needs assessment related to COVID. And this is really important, and we're looking at across all avenues, emergency services, health services. Somebody brought a good point up to me yesterday, and I never really thought about, and as you think about the economy trying to get going and people going back to work, if parents don't have child care services, going back to work is going to be near impossible. So there's another whole avenue. I never even, thought about what these child care centers are going to be dealing with now as they move forward. They're talking about $3,000 thermometers and more staff and keeping kids separated, and that's another whole avenue. So
That's eligible under this new program?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, there's a lot of things, and we'll be talking about that. The importance, I think, for you, for the Board of Commissioners, there is going to be additional funds available. And what we have to write, and that's what we want to know about, what's the overall needs in Center County? And we're going to do a needs assessment. And as we go to get the additional funds, if our needs assessment looks like this, or it looks like a phone book, guess who's going to get the additional funds? If you say, well, we have, 20 things in one avenue, let's just say emergency services, as opposed to we look at everything, much better chance that we're going to, we want to show that, what the impact has been in all quarters, and then to try to get the additional money. And as I mentioned in an email yesterday, the allocation to Pennsylvania yesterday was more than twice what they got a month ago. $24 million the first tranche, that's a new word, and 52 million in the second allocation.
Well,
So that's, the process starts on
hopefully we
Thursday.
can fill some holes with it.
And then we'll be back to you once we get everything. Commissioners will make the decision as to how we move forward with allocating the funds.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, very much. Would there be a motion to approve it?
I want to make
Please,
a couple
no, no,
comments.
please.
See, I've been doing a little bit of research into this, Matt, and as you mentioned, they're using an existing program to get new money out to communities across the nation. I believe we're estimating that our next batch of the additional funds will be about 166,000, give or take. It's still a little vague. But as you said, it's very flexible. We can use it for human services. We can use it for nonprofits. We could potentially use it to purchase equipment for daycare providers to help them improve the safety for the children and the parents in the community, to be used for emergency services. If I read the news article correctly, I believe Clinton County is reserving most of their additional CDBG funding for small business support. It's very flexible money.
That very well could be. I do know for a fact, the city of Johnstown, and I read it on the Channel 6 website a couple weeks ago, they're a direct federal entitlement, so they obviously get more allocation. The city of Johnstown is using their allocation, is what they identified in the news story, for business assistance. And yes, that is an eligible activity. And that's why I go back to developing that needs assessment strategy. You know, we have to put everything out there, and then as these funds become available, then we make the decision, you guys make the decision as how we want to move forward to allocate that. Yeah, CDBG, many people don't know this, CDBG in really only in 19 years, Congress has used it as a vehicle to distribute with this $5 billion in the CARES Act, that puts it up to $103 billion that they've used CDBG to allocate. Most of it has went to CDBG DR, disaster relief. The second, I think they call it NSP, Neighborhood Stabilization Program. I'm not sure if we've ever got one of those grants up at the MHID office. We all went through it. I went through it, and Steve, you were involved in it with the CDBG-R, the recovery money back in 2009. We did a water project down in Smalton with that. So now this is the next shot with the CARES.
Now, are the senior living, like assisted living, personal living, skilled nursing care, do they have their own pot of money, or is that eligible under these?
As I understand it, and there's still guidance, there's more guidance has to come out in the CFR yet. We're all just, waiting for bated breath. As I understand it, that there could be activities within those, both public and privately owned personal care facilities that could be eligible.
Under this program?
Under the CARES Act.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Great. Thanks. All right, okay, if I make a motion now? Sure. So, motion to approve the amendment to the Citizens Participation Plan.
I will second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any final comments on this? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Matt.
Thank you, and the link to our public hearing is on the county website. You just have to join in.
Any questions, Gary? No, right now. For Matt, okay. All right, thank you, Matt.
We do have a press release ready to go out today that has that information in it as well. There's a press release going out today that has the links and all the information with it, so we'll be distributing it far and wide.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Robert. Thanks. Okay, we're going to move now on to the Multimodal Transportation Fund grant announcement and discussion, and we'll welcome Ann up. Ann, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I did have a presentation, but I don't know if you had time for that today.
Yeah, we do, absolutely.
Very
Yep,
brief.
We absolutely do, yep.
You'll have to forgive me. This is my first time doing this, so I might struggle a little bit
No,
here
you're
getting
fine, Ann.
started.
Yeah.
I would struggle as well.
It is on, but it just needs the AV mute button. You'll see it.
Oh, so there's an AV mute button on
Yeah.
the remote she needs to hit.
I'm hitting it, and
Yeah.
it's not,
There we go. There we go. There we go.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
Oh,
So I just wanted to share today really briefly a little bit of history and where we are at this point in the Multimodal Transportation Fund Grant process. We are at 2 steps right now, registering as a PennDOT business partner, and then after that's all done, we will be working on the consultant selection process. All right, there we go. And just some highlights. We have 2 bridge bundles. One was granted by the governor in 18, and then the second one was granted by the governor in 19. And the first bundle was 3 bridges in Miles, Curtin, and Spring Township. And the second one was in Bellefonte and Howard. And really kind of a unique set of submissions. This is not commonly done. And so Mike Bloom, to his credit, used some creativity in getting these successfully submitted. So real quick, the 3 bridges are the Lower Coville Road in Spring Township, the Front Street in Curtin Township, and Fox Gap in Miles. And these 3 are actually in need of significant repair and to the point of replacement. And so this is why this is the first bridge bundle, and we are looking forward to getting this one started as soon as we can. The second one, because of the timing, we're kind of combining it in terms of the design phase, but these bridges, while not as bad, certainly need help. So we will be following up shortly with this set of projects as part of the process. And it's Mill Street in Howard Borough and Railroad Street in Bellefonte Borough. The first step in terms of continuing with the process is to register as a business partner. Mike Bloom set up the process online by beginning the business partner online application. But there's 3 things that the commissioners actually need to help with, and that is the intergovernmental business partner agreement, the policy and procedure for consultant selection, and then to pass the resolution to allow the county chair to be a signator for this entire process. And once all of these are done, we submit them to PennDOT, and we will get a response in roughly 60 days that we can go to the consultant selection process. And Ray Stelinas wanted me to just highlight real quickly, we're still learning about the consultant selection process, so this is not probably everything, but we are going to be partnering with PennDOT District 2, and they are going to be our mentor through this process, our lead, and we will be part of the advertisement for the scope of work, but we will be using the PennDOT project manager as part of our qualification committee, who will review the documents, and also next steps will be followed by Board of Commissioners reviewing the recommendations from the qualification committee, selecting 3 firms, and then once we get that, the consultant will provide technical proposals to the qualification committee, and we will rank and review them, and that will be followed by the county requesting a price proposal from the first ranked proposal. I should say the qualification committee does contain, at this point, PennDOT project manager, from design and construction, county planning director, and senior transportation planner. So those are kind of the highlights, and if you have any questions.
Any questions, thoughts on this for Ann?
I kind of have some thoughts. So between the 2 projects together, we're looking at about $3.7 million of local construction spending. My hope is that whatever engineering firm we hire will be from Center or a nearby county, that whoever's doing the construction will be from Center or nearby county, that the stone's going to come from Center or nearby county, that the concrete's going to come from Center or nearby county, and most of the employees will be from Center County or nearby counties. So we're injecting $3.7 million of construction spending that will also, most of the raw materials will come from Central PA as well. Is that correct?
So this process, we are still learning, so I can't answer that specifically, but I will discuss that with the PennDOT project manager to see what options we have to kind of encourage that suggestion. But at this point, I can't commit to that.
And you've got more than 30 families where these bridges are the sole access to their homes.
Yes, and that's why it's so important to get this moving.
Right, and they could be a bridge inspection or two away from having the bridge closed, and then how do you begin to get the school bus to pick up the kids? How do you get to the boat launch at the state park? How do you buy groceries? How do emergency vehicles get into your neighborhood? And I believe we're using about $400,000 from the $5 fee for local use for the second bridge bundle.
That is correct. Yes. And we appreciate you helping with that. That's really great for us.
I would just add that the contractors, or excuse me, the consultant selection process, those folks are already signed up through PennDOT, meaning that there are already engineering firms across the state. And so there's no guarantee it'll be someone local, but I think there are engineering firms on that list who are local. So the goal would be that hopefully those individuals would respond. And we've been fortunate that PennDOT is allowing us to bundle, if you will, these two grants. Normally, there would be a separate selection process for each with two separate engineering firms. They're allowing us to combine that, which I think will provide more efficiency under the grants and enable us to do more. And I also would point out, and Ann noted, that we're getting a great deal of support from the regional office that would not otherwise be occurring. And so I think it's really a good thing for Center County that PennDOT is willing to help us with these. I believe one of the bridges is in fact closed right now. That's the Lower Colville Bridge. I only know that because we had a polling place near there and we had to address that, I think, a while back. So yes, and it's also good to note that both Howard Borough and Bellefonte Borough are contributing dollars on their side. That bridge project is, I think, in the long run of less concern because of the way in which PennDOT's allowing those to be designed with box culverts. So we think those are going to be in budget, in line. We are a bit concerned that the three-bridge bundle may or may not be sufficient, and so each of the cooperation agreements with those municipalities are going to provide that we're going to take a look at that once the consultants are hired and they've done an initial estimate. We're going to take a look at that again and evaluate if we can go forward or we may have to drop a project. We're also going to look at what additional money we may have in the county sources, whether it's liquid fuel. Keep in mind, the other great thing that Mike did is none of this is liquid fuels money. It's coming out of your ACT money, which is great because then we have that then to still do other repairs, which you get to authorize on a regular basis. But we do have other funds available, and PennDOT may be able to shake some money loose if we need to. So the first bundle, the three-bridge bundle, is the one I think we're all a little shaky about in terms of the pricing. It's a little older. And so I just want you all to know that we will be coming back at some point once you get the consultant selected, then we'll come back and have to look at what can we really do here. So.
Any other comments?
If I could just quickly add, Mike he did tell me before he left that there were contractors kind of keeping an eye on this one to come up. So hopefully that will help.
Thank you very much for the update, Ann. And what we'll be looking at is to move 3 items to next week's consent agenda for the 19th. Will there be a motion to do so?
Motion to add the Multimodal Transportation Fund grant items 1 through 3 to next week's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion, comments on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much, Ann. Appreciate it very much. Okay, we have a, next item is emergency management under grants. And we're going to be welcoming Jeff. Good morning, Jeff.
I'd like to ask the board to endorse the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Federal Fiscal Year 2019 Pre-Disaster Mitigation Grant Agreement between Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency and Center County. Project total is $67,000. Which is funded as follows. Federal is 75%, $50,250, and the county may, and probably won't have to, match up to 25%, which is $16,750. And this is for a grant period from October 1st, 2018 through April 1st, 2022. So you approved the application for this grant in December of 2018. Things have been running rather slow down at Pima, even prior COVID-19, so this has been going on for a while, and this is for the hazard mitigation plan, which we redo every 5 years. And it's a comprehensive plan for all pre-mitigation for any type of hazard.
There's going to be a kickoff meeting coming up, right, Jeff?
There will,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So we're getting started on that.
Yes, that's it. This has been pushed back several months, of course, by the COVID-19.
All right, great. We're excited to do this grant agreement. Any other questions, comments on this? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion to add the grant agreement with Pima to next week's consent agenda.
We'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any questions for Jeff? Okay. Thank you, Jeff, very much. Appreciate it. We have two grant agreements under Human Services. We'll turn it over to Margaret.
Yes, both of these grant agreements are for the Office of Adult Services. The first, it requires a resolution, Resolution 12 of 2020. It authorizes the filing of a proposal for funds with the Department of Community and Economic Development. And specifically, it is tapping the authorized Emergency Solutions Grant, which is part of the Homeless Emergency Assistance and Rapid Transition to Housing Act of 2009. And this allows, this action today will allow the office to submit a grant proposal to secure that funding. And second item is the submission of an application for the Emergency Solutions Grant, CARES, to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, requesting the total of $341,549 to support emergency temporary shelter and homeless prevention services. So one action is related to the first resolution.
Thank you, Margaret. Would there be any questions for those two items?
You want two motions? or
Please do one. One's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hearing no other questions, please.
All right, joint motion to adopt resolution number 12 of 2020 and to approve the submission of a grant request totaling $341,549 for the ESG-CV application to the Department of Community and Economic Development.
We'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final questions or comments on this? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Margaret. We're going to go to our consent agenda. We have two items. Is there a motion to approve today's consent agenda?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any final comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, and a letter of support.
Yes, this is a letter of support to the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency that identifies Dr. Cassandra Botti as the county's point of contact for receipt of naloxone kits and distribution of the naloxone kits to first responders and others in the Center County region. This is identical to the action that you took a year ago. PCCD provides these kits to us, and they require a single point of contact. And Dr. Botti has graciously agreed to continue serving in that capacity.
Thank you, Margaret. Any questions on this item? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the letter of support for Dr. Cassandra Botti to reapply as the Center County CCE.
We'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. All right, anything else for Administrator's report, Margaret?
Just a reminder that the public hearing, the virtual public hearing, is Thursday of this week at 1 p.m. We do have a press release going out this morning that will have the contact information for connection.
Thank you, Margaret. Let's see. Seeing no discussion items, we do have two personnel items, and Kristen is here if we have any questions for her. The first one is for aging, and the second one is for public defender. The first one is approval of a check for educational program support in the amount of $3,007.58 for Shira Corrigan in our aging office, and this would be for satisfactory completion of the spring 2020 courses. We also have consider approval of the revision of appointment for Julia Dellinger, full-time law clerk in the public defender's office, and this would be effective May 18th. Any questions or anything you'd like to add first, Kristen, to any of these items?
The item for the public defender is because of the reopening of the courts, the person was supposed to begin a week after that, but he'd like to bring her in to start working a week sooner than originally had planned, so.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve both items?
Motion to approve the two items under personnel.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Kristen. Moving into the check run, Commissioner Higgins.
Sure, we have a check run today of $5,780,250.58. $5 million of that is, again, coming in from local property taxes, and we're transferring that to the money market account to earn additional interest. So thanks again to the citizens of Center County for sending their property taxes in right under the wire for the deadline for that 2% discount. The check of the week is to Compros Incorporated for $246,066.79. This is payment for a emergency communications 911 infrastructure project where Center County was the lead contractor. It's a great department, obviously very important at the moment, but it does cost millions of dollars a year to run and upgrade their equipment every couple of years. So I would like to make a motion to approve today's check run.
I will second it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the check run. Any further discussion on the check run? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Commissioner Gershon.
We have a voter registration report this morning. There's 109,193 registered voters in Center County. The roster includes 46,401 Democratic registrants, 147 Green Party, 670 Libertarian, 14,483 no affiliation, and 42,830 Republican voters, leaving all others at 4,662, which is down 27 from last week's report. The feature party of the week is the Both Party, and that is normally it's in capital letters on my report, but both is in lowercase, so the Both Party membership includes one registrant. So, all right, and the feature precinct of the week is Potter South, number 71, which votes at the Township Building in Potter Township. And in the November election, there was 1,510 registered voters, 633 ballots were cast, which leaves a voter turnout percentage of 41.92. The folks that make it happen, and hopefully many of them will be back in just a few weeks. The judge of election is Michael Byers. Minority inspector is Janet Zerby. Majority inspector is Mary Byers. The clerks include Elizabeth Green, Jean Demon, and Emily Decker. And we want to thank again the folks at Potter Township for allowing us to use their facility, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you, Commissioner. We do have 6 days left to register to vote, I think, for the primary election,
Yep.
so we encourage everybody to do that. We also do want to announce that on Monday, May 25th, Center County government offices will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. So we do want to recognize that. Any executive sessions to report, Margaret?
No executive sessions to report, however, we do need to meet in an executive session at the conclusion of the agenda.
Okay. And it would be for personnel matters?
Only personnel matters, yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. All right. Gary, any questions for us?
You guys want to take a break, because I got a bunch of questions if you want to take a couple minutes.
Oh, we got all day.
Fire away, fire away.
Fire away.
Mark, during the CDBG presentation, you mentioned it's 160 or 100, is that Center County, the number you mentioned? Do you know how much Center County's going to get?
I believe the 166,000 is for Center County alone. The Borough of Bellefonte is getting an additional amount of 66,000 on top of that. And I believe the Borough of State College gets additional money on top, but we don't administer that, so I don't know the exact figure.
So, you had a public hearing, how do you folks develop the list of priorities in terms of where the money may go? Is it a public hearing and then?
So since the CDBG program has historically been just water projects, sewer projects, the type of things you see us do every year, the COVID CDBG program is a little bit more flexible. And so, as Matt was saying, we really don't have a list for those kind of projects. So what we're going to be doing over the next several weeks is going to be developing that and seeing what some needs are. And so out of that, we're going to be able to allocate those funds. But as Matt said, there's going to be additional funds. So really, it's going to be a continual process of seeing what we can invest in and how we can help out the community. But it's going to be over the next several weeks through public hearings and folks reaching out to Matt via his email address. That's how we're going to develop that list.
Have you received any more guidelines from the governor or whatever, what the county needs to do to move from yellow to green?
No, not at this point.
Still no timeline, no?
No timeline at this point. I mean, it would be safe to say that we probably would want to see as few cases as possible, as few hospitalizations as possible, as few deaths as possible. But again, they have not given any guidance out.
Any more guidelines or information on contact tracing and how that program will get underway?
The governor last week announced a citizens corps, essentially having individuals across the state doing contact tracing. There are no firm guidelines on that or no firm timetables on that, but it was more of a discussing how they can begin to do more contact tracing. Here in Center County, we do have the benefit of having Mount Nittany partnering with Penn State and then Geisinger as well doing their contact tracing. So those have been beneficial for us in central Pennsylvania.
As a county, do you plan to wait till you get the okay from the governor's office to move to green? Or would you be developing your own guidelines possibly?
It wasn't actually something I had thought about. I don't know, my colleagues may have given it some thought, but the fact we're not in the red phase, we're in the yellow phase, I think we want to really be mindful of what it looks like in that phase. We're literally 5 days into it, so we really want to make sure that if we see the disease spread, which could take up to 2 to 3 weeks to see if there has been a spread, we want to be very, very mindful of that, not get too, we want to be thankful we're in the yellow phase, but not get too complacent. We want to still remain very vigilant, and our citizens are doing that right now. But I don't know. I think the consensus is we have not thought about going to green before the governor. I think we want to make sure we're doing it in a very safe process. Yeah.
I would agree.
Any update on preparations for a primary election? I see the ballot box out front of the building there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think, obviously, we actually have a meeting after this. We're consolidating some of the precincts, making sure that we have enough poll workers. Sort of the nuts and bolts of the mechanics of what's going on right now is of utmost importance for us. The deadlines are in place to get all the, voter registration and ballot, mail-in. But ultimately, making sure that we have the folks on the ground trained, ready to go on Election Day. And it looks like we are on a good trajectory to get that done. So June 2nd, we should be ready to roll.
Polling places making changes or consolidating?
I don't think we're losing that many. The consolidation's been relatively minor. We are probably only going to lose maybe a dozen, I would guess, maybe even less. But we seem to be getting great participation from our poll workers, and certainly a lot of folks from the community have volunteered to step up to cover the ones that are open. So I think we're in good shape.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Seeing no further questions, we'll look for a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters.
Motion to go to executive session at 11 o'clock.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, thank you, everybody.